It's been a hot minute since we last got a content cop from iDubbbz, right? Content cop, for anyone that doesn't know, was basically the pinnacle of YouTube commentary. When YouTube was really at its peak when it came to commentary, you thought of iDubbbz and you thought of the content cop. Jake Paul was not safe. Logan Paul was not safe. Rice Gum was not safe. There were a lot of people that were not safe from the content cop. And the content cop videos were usually career enders. Sometimes. Maybe they might put like a heavy dent in your career. But iDubbbz faced a lot of backlash, right, off the back of content cops from many creators. So he decided that he was going to call it a day. He then he retired content cop, right? It was done. And he decided that he was going to move on with his life in a different direction. And he even put out an apology video for his content cop videos and apologized to every single person that he ever made a content cop video on for the hate, for the way that it may have damaged their career, reputation, or personal image online, and, you know, basically stated that he wanted to move away from content cop creation because it wasn't him anymore. It wasn't what he wanted to be known for anymore. He didn't want to be known as that horrible, insecure, toxic guy that made hit pieces on video, on people that would literally kind of create career-ending tsunamis, right? And it was all good. He kind of moved on with his life and he went on and did some other stuff. Like, some things less successful than others, but, this is a huge but, ladies and gentlemen. iDubbbz, around a week ago, right, announced that he would be returning Content Cop and that it would be making a comeback with this video, the announcement here.
What we do here is go back.
That was enough to get the internet in a bit of a frenzy. And you can imagine that people were not, you know, there was mixed bags of reaction. Some people were like, yes, who's it gonna be on? Because there's a lot of people that, you know, arguably deserve a bit of a content cop at the moment. We're looking at you, Paul Brothers. And there's some people that were like, why is this coming back? You've done a whole apology. You've said that you moved on with your life. Like, what's going on? Why have you done this? Now, there were a lot of people, obviously, that, you know, the speculation started to run. Maybe there were, like, you know, some names thrown around that it could potentially be. But it was then announced after, you know, a video dropped yesterday at the time of recording that the content cop was on none other than Ethan Klein of H3H3 podcasts, right? Now, this was huge because obviously there's a lot of history between Ethan and iDubbbz, right? There's a lot of history. They've done videos back and forth, you know, they've spoken, they've been friends, they've not been friends. There's a lot of water under the bridge, right? So to then see this come out was kind of bizarre, especially considering the climate of YouTube at the moment. And to be fair, if you were going to do anyone, you know, a content cop on anyone for your first video back and you wanted it to really make a statement, this was the guy to target, Ethan Klein. Obviously, there's been very political things go on, especially with the Palestine stuff. And there's been a lot of, you know, back and forth with Hassan and stuff like this. It's crazy with Ethan right now. But the entire situation kind of exploded when iDubbbz dropped this video. And in a nutshell, right, because the entire video is over an hour long, and I'm not going to sit here and put you through that. But obviously, you know, Ethan Klein has been at the center of multiple controversies, especially recently, mainly due to his statements about Israel, Palestine, and the left, which has caused fallout with close friends and collaborators, including Hassan Piker, iDubbbz, and Anissa. So obviously, this is exactly where, you know, things get proper heated. So the main issues that were mentioned within the content cop is harassment and online mobs, right? So Ethan accuses others of not defending him against online hate mobs, while many believe he has instigated harassment against many others. And then there's Ethan versus iDubbbz and Anissa. So Ethan expected iDubbbz and Anissa to denounce their former editor who insulted Ethan and his wife. iDubbbz then refused, saying that Ethan gave him the ultimatum and made things transactional, and they believe that Ethan is coercive, emotionally manipulative, and uses power against weaker creators. And then he goes on to talk about, obviously, the very notorious fallout with Hassan that's been going on for a very long time now. So Ethan was caught off guard when serious discussions about Israel and Palestine came up on their Leftovers podcast. His strong pro-Israel stance conflicted with Hassan's pro-Palestine views, leading to awkward tension and the eventual fallout of the two creators. Ethan then accused Hassan of anti-Semitism, but still follows him on social media, exposing inconsistencies. And then there's also talks about double standards. So Ethan gives special treatment to popular, more powerful creators like Matt Lieb or Bill Burr, while harshly attacking smaller ones, and he's been accused of being performative in his activism and only caring about it when it benefits him. Obviously some very, very heavy statements there. One thing that, you know, many people know not to do, it's mix politics and religion with the content. And they've done both. So it's got messy. And then there's the criticisms, of course, of Ethan. So he allegedly uses a, quote, kill switch button on his podcast to avoid any form of accountability, deflects criticism by using jokes, excessive excuses like goblin mode or demon mode, and puts his crew in uncomfortable positions, often requiring emotional labor from them, and weaponizes lawsuits and legal threats against creators like Noah Samson. So projects his hurt and power imbalance onto others while claiming to be the victim. And then obviously there's the silence from friends. So Ethan feels betrayed from former allies like Anissa, iDubbbz and Olivia, who don't publicly defend him, and those people argue that Ethan is demanding emotional loyalty and forcing people to pick sides, which they find manipulative. Then there's a psychological angle. Obviously I've said there's a lot that goes on here. Ethan's apology to Cutie Cinderella was A+ by a therapist, which he gloated about. Later, iDubbbz attempted to get a grade changed to B, symbolically highlighting how Ethan doesn't take full accountability. And then the final messages from iDubbbz are that Ethan's behavior is toxic, defensive, and hypocritical. However, iDubbbz acknowledges that Ethan is still human, scared, and hurt, and should be held accountable with empathy. And he ends with people giving Ethan genuine compliments despite the conflict, offering a chance for resolution if Ethan chooses to reflect and change. That's it, kind of in a nutshell. Obviously, there's a lot that goes on within the hour video, so me consolidating it like that doesn't really do it the greatest of justice. So if you want to check it all out, go over to iDubbbz channel. Right now, it's sat on a whopping 2.3 million views, which is obviously something that iDubbbz hasn't seen for a very long time. I'm just trying to scan through and see the last video that even got over 1 million views, for example. So it's probably, I missed the old iDubbbz, 2.8 million views, and that was over a year ago. This one, 2.3 million in 15 hours. So you can see many people are coming back. Now, the comment section for this is fantastic. Now, this is a recession indicator. Top comment. Since the last content cop, I've gotten 2 degrees and 3 children. This is a huge day for leftists who were edgy teens in 2017. Society has collapsed at least 4 times since the last content cop. I have no one I can talk to about this. Thank you, iDubbbz, for hosting our high school reunion in your comment section. This was really nice to see everyone again. It's great. It's great. Many people are just kind of reminiscing in the nostalgia of it all. Now, as you can imagine, Ethan Klein didn't take too fondly to this. He did respond to it on a podcast episode when he was, like, you know, going live and stuff. He found out midway through a podcast episode, actually, so that was an interesting kind of thing. But one of the things that was heavily criticized are the creators that helped to put this together. So you got Hassan Arby, you got Denims, you got Sean DeBlack, you got Frogan, you got Kirk Honda, you've got Noah Samson, you got Matt Lieb. Obviously, all people that are kind of against Ethan, right? And this was his response.
Really fucking unreal.
Pretty wild.
And it's just so pathetic, too. Like, talk about a bandwagon. Like, bro, this is the edgy, cool content you're trying to make a play to, like, fucking warm up to. By the way, iDubbbz, Lena's fucking having a panic attack because why would you do this and not even tell her? Like, why would you invite someone on the show and do this? It's just fucking mean-spirited. I can't, I'm genuinely in disbelief. I am genuinely in disbelief. And by the way, I know all the criticism that all these people level against me, and there's no shot that this video holds any fucking water. I'll watch the whole thing. I don't give a fuck. Oh, and great. You got psychology in Seattle. My 10 out of 10 perfect apology.
It could be in jeopardy, dude.
This is actually...
It could be in jeopardy.
This is actually fucking unbelievable. People were like, oh, he's doing a content cop. I was like, oh, okay. The best guess I heard was like, oh, maybe he's doing it on Kick. Maybe he's doing it on Kick.
So obviously that's where it kind of rounds out, and then he goes on to talk about, you know, who he could potentially be making on all the rest of it, right? Now, we don't know if Content Cop is back for good. This could be a one and done situation. This could be, you know, like just putting it out there and then just kind of walking away, calling it a day. Or this could be the start of many things and Content Cops to come, and I'll actually be really intrigued to see who would be up next on the chopping block for Content Cop. But what do you guys think? Is this a good move? Should iDubbbz have brought this back, or should it have been left where it was? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm genuinely intrigued because obviously this whole thing has blown up exponentially over the past kind of 24 hours with, you know, hype about who it was going to be on, then finding out, and then the fallout of it. Ethan's already dropped an well over 3 hour, 45 minute response video where he reacts to the entire thing. So if you want to check that, I'm not sitting through that. That was insane. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump, get the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.